everyone. Alan Butler with Adventure Vehicle Reviews, and we're here for another live episode on Thursday night. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we want to let you know, if you have any comments or questions, this is a time to interact with Devin and I to make sure you get your say in how AVR does their thing, okay? We're also on Facebook Live right now. Tonight's topic, pretty exciting stuff, the 2017 Ram Rebel. And we want your input on what adventure we go on. Now, this is a pretty specific truck. It's designed for the off-road. It's one of the best off-roaders that Ram has to offer. And there's got to be a fairly significant adventure that we can go on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, I want to take a look at this thing real quick so we can just have a little bit eyes on it, what we're talking about here. See if I can pull it up.
Right. For all you on Facebook, again, we are on YouTube. It's a lot more interactive. We've been telling you that week after week now. So we got John joining us. All right. Welcome, John. Thank you. Again, we're here to talk about the next adventure, the next review, a 2017 Ram Rebel. I'm looking forward to it. I know Devin's looking forward to it. But moreover, what's the adventure we're going to do? That's probably one of the toughest conversations that we have, isn't it, Devin?
Yeah, it's nonstop. Every time we turn around, we're always wondering what are we gonna do? Well, this is the vehicle that's coming up. Little spoiler alert for you: the 2017 Ram Rebel.
There it is.
We've gotten a lot of requests for it. This is
here.
it, and we are definitely going to be having a lot of good stuff coming this way. More importantly, is where we're planning on going. So where we're going to be going this next time is. We're going to be going.
Unless somebody has a better suggestion.
Well, absolutely.
We'll take it.
If we don't have a better suggestion, though, where we plan on going is Pismo Beach. We're going to drive all the way up to Pismo Beach.
That's right.
And we're going to be doing just some awesome stuff out there. In case you guys haven't heard of Pismo Beach, which I'm sure most of you have, see if I can pull up a little picture here.
Pismo Beach. I've never been there.
Check this out.
Yeah, wow. It's a lot of dunes. It's a lot of sand. I mean, it's the beach, but it's the dunes of, Central Coast of California. Have you been there? I haven't.
I have never been there, but I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I am really excited to go out there. So you can see these dunes right here.
They are nice.
Oh, I want to jump it. I want to fly off it. I want to scuba dive and surf in the beach. I want to build a sand castle. Anything and everything.
What do you want to see us do? That's what we're here for. What do you want to see us do on this adventure with the Ram Rebel at Pismo, or unless you have a better suggestion as far as location is concerned, where are we going to go? We thought about some other things out in the desert. Were we talking about going cave diving?
We were going about. So there's apparently there's this cave. I don't have a picture of it. I guess it's from what I understand, it's all filled in now. But
it's down in the ground,
in the middle of the desert.
In the middle of the desert, right?
Yes.
Mojave Desert.
Right. I've done some moderate cave diving. By no means am I some sort of cave diving expert or anything. But I will tell you that it's very dangerous to do those kind of activities. But I would love to try it. I definitely want to have somebody there that knows a lot more about it than I do. But going cave diving, I can't remember what it's called. If you happen to know what it's called, please shoot a comment and remind me. But if it's out in the Death Valley Desert area, we were thinking about taking the Rebel out there actually to participate in such activities. But in any case,
there we go.
Definitely want to do what we could to pick the appropriate adventure for the right vehicle, and I think that Pismo Dunes is perfect. Pismo Beach looks phenomenal, especially with that accent in red. The only thing I could think of that would be better would be to take that TRX Ram Rebel out there.
That TRX would be amazing. Now, the TRX Ram Rebel, it's just a concept right now. It's in the concept stage. And really what it takes for a manufacturer to take a vehicle from a concept and make it in a production vehicle is all about interest. Your interests, your emails, your comments on YouTube or whatever social media saying, hey, Ram, I'm interested in this. I seriously want to buy this. So this Ram Rebel TRX, I think it's sitting on 37-inch tires. It's supported by a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. Okay, I'll say it again, a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8. Now, those of you who are familiar with Hemi engines will know that this is the Hellcat engine. And for whatever reason, the engineers decided to bring it from 700 horsepower down to 575 horsepower for this truck. It's got linked rear suspension, which it claims is going to keep up with some of the suspension that you'll see in a lot of higher end, like pre-runner type off-roaders, where they have this 4-link rear suspension. Looking at the picture, I can see that it's not going to have, 26, 30 inches of rear wheel travel that you get out of a 4-link rear suspension out of some custom fabricated truck, whether it's a Ford or Chevy or whatever. But they're making an honest effort, and already I can tell you, looking at this truck, if you're on Facebook, go Google Ram Rebel TRX. It's an amazing truck. To me, and let me know if you disagree or not, or if you agree, it's a way better looking truck than the Raptor.
Oh, man, it looks... I'm going to blow it up one more time to look at this thing. If you guys are on... those of you that are on Facebook, you really got to jump on YouTube to take a look at what we're showing here. The red of this truck just looks... Oh, man, that is just... That looks mean. I like the accented red right around the Ram symbol in the front. It's got the... It looks like one of those beadlock rims on there. Some meaty tires, and just... Wow.
Okay, and to be honest, man, and I don't want to get off topic here for too long, but in the half-ton pickup category, what else really competes with Ford Raptor? Really, what keeps up with it?
The Raptor factor. We're at it again.
Yep, here it is. Why isn't this being built? You know what I mean? I mean, this
feels like a monopoly at this point.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's totally a monopoly.
They're leading. They are leading the way with that Raptor. And they just keep making the price more and more and more expensive, and people keep buying it. That should tell the other manufacturers, in my opinion, to say, hey, you know what? We need to get on
Somebody
this.
texted me today about they're looking at Ford Raptor. The dealership has it listed at $105,000.
Jeez,
that is ridiculous.
I got that in my sock, but
that's exactly what happens when you have a monopoly on something, that they can jack the price up. The only one even coming remotely close for this, in my opinion, is a Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, right? It's the only one coming close.
And even then, it's a long ways away.
It is.
Now, so don't be confused that we're saying that it's going to be up there with it. Oh, we just got a comment. Let's see. Jose, he says, would you get it instead of a Power Wagon? Ooh. Okay, I'm glad you asked this question. Good question. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so Alan and I, we've talked about this quite a few times, and I'm sure we've all heard it. Comparing a Raptor to any other vehicle, and I am not a huge die-hard Raptor guy, and most people that own Raptors, not to say they all do, but most people that buy these $100,000 trucks, they're generally just going to the mall with them. I think is a safe bet. But in any case, still a great truck. Would love to get my hands on one. But that Power Wagon, there's something to be said about a stock truck that comes with that. It comes with that worn winch,
12,000 pounds.
It's got front locker, rear locker. It's got the sway bar disconnect, the Articulink.
Yep.
Well, it's hard to compare. I mean, they're really two different kind of trucks.
I almost want to say it could be based on a geographic location where you're at and what you're into. If this is going to be more of a play truck for you, and you're not going to be planning on doing a lot of hauling, and I don't know the specs on the Ram TRX, but I could guess that it being built for being like a desert runner, pre-runner type truck, it's going to have some nice soft suspension, which are going to compromise its towing capability, right?
Well, it depends on what you're doing with the truck. What do you, the driver...
Where is it leaning?
What are you doing with it? If you're wanting to go jumping off of a jump or something, I would say you probably want to lean more towards a Raptor.
A Raptor or TRX, if they ever bring it out. For me personally, his name's Jose. Thanks for joining us, by the way, Jose, and we really appreciate your question. I bought a Power Wagon for a reason. That Power Wagon in our first video, that is my Power Wagon. Some people don't know that, but that's actually my Power Wagon. I've done a lot of research. I do a lot of research on the different vehicles. You're going to be spending shoot, at least $40,000. People nowadays easily can spend $50,000 or more dollars on a truck. If you just go down to the dealership and you get swindled by some salesmen, a lot of times they don't know what the truck is. They don't care. They just see it as the next sale, and I can't blame them. They got to make money. They got to put bread on the table. But in the end, this is a truck that you're going to have for some time. It's going to haul you and your family and your friends around, and it's going to be a good source of entertainment.
Well, check this out. Here's Alan's Power Wagon right here.
Right.
That's it. And this is actually the Ram Rebel that we're gonna be testing. But to answer your question, he's asking, towing will be something I will do. Maybe 6,000 pounds. Okay.
I would say that if he's looking at the TRX, I'm willing to bet that TRX can have no problem hauling 6,000 pounds. Not because of the engine, just because the suspension setup, right? If the suspension is set up so for high-speed off-road, it's going to be a little bit more supple. There's going to be some more give in it. And then you put some tongue weight on that truck, it's going to really sit like that, right? And that's going to compromise. The weight is going to be all the way in the back of the truck. And when you go to steer, hauling a 6,000, 8,000 pound trailer behind you, your steering's not going to be as effective. Your braking's not going to be as effective. So for me, that Power Wagon it's a more all-around truck. I've taken it out on some high-speed off-road stuff. It does fine on it. Does it do great? No, it doesn't do great. But it's pretty much a Swiss Army knife. It's good at about everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really personally appreciate something that doesn't lean so heavily towards that. If it does, then you know what? Maybe I'll just go buy a stock truck and build it up myself.
That Raptor looks way cooler than the freaking Power Wagon, man.
Yeah,
I gotta say it, man. I hate to do it, but man, I mean, you keep the Ram has been pretty traditional about keeping its general look. I mean, a lot of it really hasn't changed over the years. I mean, we got obviously different lighting, whatever, but they got that same
crosshair grill.
That same crosshair grill, a different with it when it comes to the Rebel, and even with the current new Power Wagon.
Hi, Debbie.
But
hey, Brian,
in essence, it's the same. A lot of it's very traditional, and that Raptor, it looks really mean. But I would say, to answer your question, Jose, you're saying that you're towing 6,000 pounds. I have actually been with Alan when he's towing a 10,000 plus, and he's had nothing but just easy. It just tows it right down the road.
I tow a big fifth wheel with that Power Wagon. I go off-roading on some Jeep trails in that Power Wagon. That's not to say that a Ram Rebel or a TRX can't tow a 6,000 pound trailer. It can. In fact, the Ford Raptor can tow up to 8,000 pounds. So that's the new one too.
You know what, Jose? You bring up something that occurred on this last review that we just did, and we did it on the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, and what occurred was the truck actually dropped. What would you say, about 2 inches? Because we broke the suspension in. So when it actually lost some of its clearance just by
it started
using
sagging
the
a little
truck.
bit. Yeah, it did.
And that's something that you keep taking a high performance truck and you're constantly compressing it. It's gonna do some give on it. I mean, I don't know about any permanent. I wouldn't say damage, but it's definitely gonna compress.
You break in the engine, you break in the brakes, you break in the suspension. Everything on a brand new truck, after a little while, gets broken. It depends on how hard you break it in, though, right?
Absolutely.
So, those are the things that people have to consider. Jose, thank you for the question on YouTube. All of you on Facebook, thanks for joining. We got John joining us. Mountain Dew Alfred. Hey, thanks for thanks for joining us. You got any questions? What this whole episode's about, really, guys and gals out there, is we have a 2017 Ram Rebel that we're going to be reviewing here very soon. And the question is, where should we go? What should the adventure be? We want to input you on this. We want some of your feedback on this. Our idea is we're going to drive up the beautiful coast of California, PCH, and we're going to go up to Pismo Beach. And we're going to see how the Ram Rebel does in the dunes, okay? And then some of those nice coastal roads leading up to the dunes up in Pismo. Now, the adventure in Pismo, what are we going to do? We're going to go boogie board. We're going to go scuba diving. What's it going to be? Let us know. Maybe there's something on the way up there from Southern California to Pismo They're like, hey, you guys should stop and do this. We'd love to do it, you know. And the question arises, well, why do you all have to do an adventure in a review? And I'll tell you like this. When you go on a test drive for a vehicle, or somebody else on YouTube who does these automotive reviews, there's a lot of us out there, right? It's saturated. Here's the difference, though. You go on a test drive for this car that you want to buy, or this truck, but you really don't get to know it until you take it on your first family trip. You take it on your first outing.
Its first true practical use.
And then you're like, whoa, I didn't know it had that locking box. I didn't know that the nav did this. I didn't know I could raise a suspension like this. I didn't know that it could climb that hill. Oh, man, I didn't know I had hill descent control. All these things.
And sometimes, and I believe we mentioned it in that last review, sometimes it's just the right turn of a dial or the push of a button to really change the dynamic of everything that your vehicle you thought was capable of. It is now just completely different and offering you a lot more functionality and just anything you can think of. So we try to, when we take it out on the adventures, obviously we want to give a good entertaining story at the same time, but I can tell you right now, it's just Alan and I that do most of the filming and what have you. I mean, we have a couple of our friends that help us out, and we're very genuine, we're very authentic, and we feel that when we were looking at vehicles to buy, we were looking at it like, okay, I want to see how the vehicle's going to handle in a practical situation.
You can't do that unless you
have to actually get out there and do it.
You have to get out of the little town, the little loop they take
I'm
you on.
watching people, the people are they're taking their vehicles on these other journalistic channels and what have you, and they're going on a track. Maybe they're testing we'll just say a Ram Power Wagon, and they're going to take the Ram Power Wagon on a made track by Ram in a controlled environment. And to me, that just isn't really doing it for me. I want to see it go out there and meet the unavoidable obstacles, the challenges that you're going to have to face, and you have to figure out what you're going to do.
Well, think about this. What family event or adventure that you go on where you don't run into some sort of obstacle? Maybe it has something to do with money. Maybe it has something to do with, the park was shut down. But oftentimes it has to do with the vehicle, right? Maybe you didn't expect it to burn so much gas. But basically what we're getting at is that the adventure is important to do to really experience the adventure-based vehicle in a way that you're not going to be able to do just by taking it around on your local freeways and highways and maybe taking it up and down a dirt road. It's got to be more than that. Let me address some comments here on Facebook. Debbie's telling us to go out to Anza-Borrego and Glamis and see the desert flowers. Debbie, that's a great idea, especially for this time of year because...
Yeah, the state flower, I can't remember what it's called. They're actually in bloom right now.
They are in bloom right now.
And it's all over the mountains, and they grow in very odd places.
They're beautiful.
It's almost like you have to have a vehicle, an adventure-based vehicle, just to go and check them out.
Well, we wanted to go to Glamis for the TRD Pro that we just did, and part 2 is, I said it last week, but it's coming out. It's coming out real soon. So stand by for the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro part 2 coming out very soon. We wanted to go to Glamis for that trip, but the adventure changed, so the location changed. Okay, but we will be hitting Glamis up, and we've been to Anza-Borrego before. So thank you for that suggestion, Debbie. John also mentioned, hey, how about a dirt bike in the dunes? Throw a dirt bike in the back of the Ram Rebel, and let's get them both airborne. I like that. I'm not much of a dirt bike rider, but I got a lot of good friends, and you're one of them who can ride a dirt bike. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm fine with that. I'll drive the Ram Rebel all day long.
Maybe we'll get a KTM 690.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
That would be nice.
That'd be nice.
I believe I might be able to get my hands on one of those.
Yeah.
That's its own review and right there. But yeah, I totally agree. But I think that Pismo Beach is just so unique in the fact that it's a recreational area right on the coast. And when I grew up, I spent some time up in the Washington area, southern Washington, and Washington State, that is. Mm-hmm. And we used to drive across the border down to Oregon to a place called Sand Lake. And it, too, was right on the coast. And I guess I was spoiled then because I really didn't see just how awesome having that was when I was a child.
Right.
But being able to go back and explore something like that, super awesome. There's so many things you can do there. I can paraglide off of off the dunes there. We can
Right
go
off a Razorback. Yep.
We can go surfing. We can go scuba diving. I believe there's even some cliff wall bluffs that are out there. We can go rock climbing, rappelling.
Well, see, that's the problem is that we just get wrapped up in like, well, what's the adventure going to be? And we want to know your input. What do you want to see us we do? We got a comment from No Direction Moto. What's he saying here on YouTube?
He's saying, I'm in for the 690 Desert Race support vehicle. That's good.
No Direction Moto. That's probably a cool YouTube page if you want to visit that. That's not a bad idea, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So, I like Pismo. Number one, I've never been there. I'd like to go to Pismo. I like the dunes. I'm curious to see here's a cool thing about the dunes. It takes power to move through the sand. Now, no doubt, this Ram Rebel has a 5.7 liter Hemi. It makes, I want to say 390 horsepower without looking at something. A bunch of torque behind it too, like 410 foot-pounds of torque or something like that. Anyhow, don't quote me on all that stuff. In any case, it takes some power to muscle a heavy truck like a Ram Rebel through the dunes,
Yeah.
So it's got 33-inch all-terrain tires, four-wheel drive. You know what's funny about that Ram Rebel is they offer it in a V6, which I don't completely disagree with, because a lot of people just want to buy that truck for the looks.
Right.
And that V6, it makes good power. It makes like 292 horsepower or something. But it's really going to test. If that Ram Rebel can climb those dunes and spin those tires and make just awesome, dust clouds, it's going to show how much power it is. But if it gets bogged down and can't climb it, well then maybe we should not go in the dunes.
But isn't that the test?
That's the test. That's what we're there.
We got to push it to see how far can a Ram Rebel go before we can't go anymore, and then we'll have to bring out the power wagon to pull it out.
Absolutely.
So going back to your comment, Jose, yeah, we will be bringing the power wagon out as our support vehicle, and if need be, we'll be towing that Ram Rebel to get it out. That winch, man. I mean, once you throw a big obstacle in front of a vehicle, you're
did you have a question about the power wagon?
Let's see. What kind of pressure do you run in a truck like that for deep sand? I'll let Alan answer that one.
Yeah. Okay. Tire pressure. That's a good question. Well, number one, when you're running tire pressure in a truck, you're probably running 50 psi, maybe 60 psi or something if you're towing or whatever on a half-ton truck or whatever. You go rock crawling, you go in the sand, you want to make a bigger footprint, right? If you're going up in the rocks and you want that tire to almost kind of in a walk, and it was a simple suggestion of, hey, why don't you air down your tires, okay? Clear it out a bit, make a little bit of path, and that really made all the difference was just them airing down. General like that. Anything lower than that, once you get below 12, you're really kind of pushing it because
you don't want to pop the bead.
Speed, you pop a bead, You go into hard turn, you put a lot of lateral weight on the truck, on the rim, you're going to pop the bead. It's going to come right off the tire.
We got a picture of a Hummer, just some picture I found on the internet, and a lot of it comes with technique as well. So a lot of people, I see that a lot of people when they're out there and they're in the sand, their tendency, and I want to know if you agree with this, Alan, would be that they want to gun it. They want to, I'm slowing down, I'm bogging, and they gun it, and then now they're digging. You go from forward momentum to now you're actually digging down deeper into the sand.
Yeah.
And you're getting stuck. You're putting yourself in a worse situation.
Well, to get out of those types of situations in the sand, it's good to go slow. A nice slow torque on the tire as it rotates to pull itself out. When you start spinning, it's going to dig itself in. It's weird how it works. It's kind of hard for me to explain without pulling out a chart and math and chalk and all that good stuff and calculators and whatnot. But basically what it is a lot of times slower is better, and having a good torquey vehicle airing down your tires is going to help you out. Now, a lot of people will do that. Whoom, whoom, whoom. They'll get on the gas, and before they know it, 3 hard acceleration applications, and they're buried up to their axle. You're going to figure out real quick, one or two times on the gas, you're like, oh, it's not working. You got to stop, time out, get out of your vehicle, and start thinking about different options that you have. Other ways of getting out of there, whether you got to back up, maybe you can work with gravity, maybe you can kind of rock the vehicle.
There's all kinds of techniques.
Maybe you can throw some rocks underneath, whatever. It goes on and on and on. But people who just that's just inexperience. That just screams inexperience all over it, you know.
But yes, airing down your tires does help, and I would say just dropping it maybe down. Yeah, like you said, 50.
Probably around 20 psi, maybe 25 psi.
Just don't go too low. But well, we're gonna. Any more questions or comments or anything? Now's the time to ask. If no one asks or make any comments, you can be about anything that you want, any vehicle, any adventure. Just looking for interaction. If we don't get any more comments or anything, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. But that's what we're looking at. Is we're gonna be going out to Pismo. And
John did ask when we're going to be going, and I think we're probably going sometime in April.
Mm-hmm.
These things take time logistically to plan, to get the crew together, to get the gear together, to get the truck, and actually head out. You know, for usually our trips are about 3 or 4 days, so it's coming up soon. We're thinking April. If it gets done in April, then that video should be ready to go late April or early May. So that's to answer that question for you, John, and the rest of you out there. When the next actual comprehensive review is going to be released, will be the 2017 Ram Rebel in late April or early May. And again, we're heading to Pismo. That's what it is. But if you have some suggestions, even after this video gets posted, and you want to comment and say, hey, you know what, guys? I think it would be awesome if you went X or you went somewhere else. Let us know.
If you've been to Pismo and you know of somewhere in Pismo,
even better.
If you know of somewhere in Pismo that you're going to say, hey, you need to go here or you got to check this out, you got to let us know. Because like I said, you know, Alan and I have never been there. We're going to do our research, but it's very easy for us to not know the things that people that frequent the area a lot, they are going to know it.
And on top of that, and I'll end it with this, if there's something you'd like to see us do with the Ram Rebel that's not going to taco the frame, let us know. Okay, again, if there's something you'd like to see us do with the Ram Rebel on the way up to Pismo or to wherever location we go, send us a comment. You can shoot us an email at adventurevehiclereviews@gmail.com and interact with us. You know, that's how it works here on YouTube and social media. We're supposed to be social. We're supposed to interact with you. So let us know. Again, you can always reach us at adventurevehiclereviews@gmail.com. You can go to our website to find out more about Devin and I and some of the things we've done at adventurevehiclereviews.com. Of course, you can see us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And all of our videos have been loaded onto YouTube. That's it for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.